Yo guys, I've got a spark which I'm going to use to ignite the fire for a brand new episode of the second season of Skylanders Sabotage here on the channel. Now I originally promised in the debut to make this a weekly series, but unfortunately we did miss last week due to how absurdly busy I was being occupied with work at the time. But we're going to make up for that as we are going to have this series every Tuesday going live on the channel from this point forward. So the series is going to go back to being a weekly occurrence, which means that you need to leave for me in the comment section below your idea for sabotages in the future of this series. I will be picking out the very best and utmost creative challenges to tackle, so be sure to get those creative juices flowing as you leave me your sabotages in the comment section below. But that being said, today's sabotage is certainly a creative one. So on the gameplay front, all I simply need to do is get through Battlebrawl Island as fast as possible. But I have been sabotaged as I need to switch out my Skylanders every single time a Spellpunk is defeated. I must switch out to a Skylander corresponding with the element of the Spellpunk that I just defeated. So naturally the time is going to be made a lot longer from the summoning in animations of the different elemental Skylanders alone. And then it also means that despite the arena currently having a tech elemental buff, because I'm going to be switching out for elements of my Skylander so frequently, I'm not even going to be able to take full advantage of that tech elemental buff throughout the entire challenge. So that's going to make things a whole lot harder, and I need to make sure that I'm on the ball and concentrating throughout this entire challenge, because when I summon in a Skylander, those first few frames where they're summoned into the world of Skylands, they are quite vulnerable. So if I do not react quickly enough, they are going to get hit with a lack of invincibility frames, and that would be tragic, especially in Nightmare mode, where it's only going to take a few hits in order for them to be defeated, which is the last thing we want. And there is an additional layer to this sabotage that was added by the commenter to not use Skylanders whose tertiary ability is flight. Now in Spyro's Adventure that would be made a lot more tougher because a lot of Skylanders have a tertiary ability that is flight in that game, but because we're tackling superchargers instead, and I'm going to be using the 8 original superchargers for each of the 8 base elements, then that is no longer a factor because none of those Skylanders have flight as a tertiary ability. Now I've chosen superchargers on Battlebrawl Island specifically because this is what I would call the Spellpunk central of the entire Skylanders franchise. Spell Slamser as a boss fight constantly splits himself up into tons of different elemental Spellpunks. So because we're going to be defeating them constantly, it means we're going to be switching out Skylanders constantly, and I have to remain immersed in the boss fight the entire time. If I just drop the ball for a slight second, it could spell disaster. So that is what has made this sabotage that much more effective for Battlebrawl Island specifically. And without further ado, Gold Rusher has been alone on the portal for a while now, so it's time it received itself a tech companion to go alongside it for High Volt. And the moment he's summoned in, the timer in the top left hand corner will begin. But we're going with the Gold Rusher as our vehicle to ensure that when I switch out for the new original characters and superchargers, that I don't get a supercharger buff, because that would make the challenge a little easier on me, and we can't possibly have that now, can we? There's no chickening out when it comes to this challenge. So naturally with the Gold Rusher I can only supercharge with Double Dare Trick Happy, but we're not using the revamped superchargers, which is great because I've kind of had enough of them after the Supercharged series. We played them to death, so it's nice to play with the alternate cast and superchargers once, where we can utilise the 8 original characters from each of the 8 base elements instead. So yes, as I said earlier, be sure to leave me your utmost creative sabotages in the comment section below, and I will be picking all of the very best ones to tackle in future episodes of the series, which will now be going live on every single Tuesday. I felt like this was a very interesting challenge to tackle, which is why I wound up choosing this one in the end, and say it's definitely a challenge which could have been tackled in Spyro's Adventure, because Spyro's Adventure is notorious for having different elemental Spellpunks. In fact, I believe that game has a Spellpunk for every single element of that game, because Spyro's Adventure really tied itself into the different elements that the game possessed, with the Core of Light having to collect an eternal source for every single one of the 8 base elements in that game, mind you. Spyro's Adventure was really the only game that played into the idea of Skylanders elements being an essential means to the plot of that game. But Superchargers just do a great job paying homage to the story of Spyro's Adventure in its entirety. Of course, in that game we are building a Core of Light to keep the darkness of Skylanders at bay. In this game, the Core of Light is directly referenced because the darkness itself becomes a personified entity, a force of evil to be destroyed, and so naturally we need to go back and complete the Core of Light in order to keep the darkness at bay once more, just like we did for Skylanders' Adventure. Now the problem with that is obviously we know through the course of the story that the Core of Light gets destroyed by Chaos' Sky Eaters, so instead we need to use the Dark Rift engine to send the darkness back to where it came from. This reminds me of a very out-of-context clip from Modern Family.
Absolutely. I think we would all be better off if people would go back to where they came from.
But now with that, we're back to the world of Skylanders, where High Vault has seen better days in terms of his health, but luckily that's what we got Popcorn for. There goes one of the Brimstone and Boulders, so now we're going to take down his companion. That is, if I can stop getting hit by fireballs, which seems to be asking for an awful lot, but now he has been defeated at long last, so we're off to a good start. The tech buff is really helping out High Vault, who was pretty powerful to begin with, so the buff really does add a lot on top of that. The Superchargers is also a great game to tackle the specific challenge, because of the fact that we have Spellpunk Central over here, as I called it earlier, and it's an appropriate name that given how many Spellpunks we face in this level, and there's even a level named after the Spellpunks directly with the Spellpunk library, but we're not going to be tackling that in this Sabotage. We're focusing purely on Battlebrawl Island, since the Spellpunks are all so close together and will be swapping out so frequently to make this Sabotage all the more effective against me, so to say. But yes, this game also has a ton of different elemental Spellpunks. I don't think it has as many as far as Adventure did, but coming off the heels of Giant, Swap Force and Trap Team of which didn't even have any Spellpunks. Swap Force only has Life and Undead, I believe, and then Giants is a similar story in the fact that it has fewer Spellpunks to offer. Well, actually, no, that's a lie. I remember that Swap Force also had the Magic Spellpunk on top of the Undead and Life ones. That was something exclusive to Chaos' Fortress, though, and you didn't have multiple different elemental Spellpunks in the same level, like in Spyro's Adventure and in Swap Force. The same elemental Spellpunk can be found throughout the entire level. So yes, that would mean that we will just defeat one Spellpunk, switch out to whatever element is corresponding with that Spellpunk, and then remain as that same Skylander throughout the rest of the level all over again. It's not much of a sabotage, whatsoever. These guys need to go, man. They're getting me, and it's not cool. Oh, these freaking grenades everywhere. They definitely have a grin on their faces given how much damage they just dealt to me right now. Wow. And now I'm out of food, so I was not wise with the food supplies, the rations I was given from that little bonus arena right now. Oh, but the game has been generous and has given me yet another hot dog because apparently we didn't have enough food given to us already, but I'm okay with that. Why did that grenade not get hit? I'm pretty sure I hit him, but the game said no apparently. So here we go, let's defeat Captain Bristol Stash himself, and then we have to deal with, obviously, the thing that I have been dreading, Spell Slams, who can be seen in the background currently, a very fine attention to detail that I am dying! Okay, here we go, these guys really need to go now. So watch out for the blast, and the other blasts. Now I have to play this carefully, which is going to be an even bigger waster on the time, mind you. That guy's going to leave behind some popcorn though, so that is glorious, especially since popcorn in this game is really nutritious. It's convenient actually, very convenient. That didn't hit me, which is also convenient. Oh dear, but I just love how Superchargers paid homage back to so many elements of Spyro's Adventure, both with how many Spellpunks it incorporated and the fact that, you know, you can see multiple different Spellpunk elements in the same levels, mind you. That's something different from Spyro's Adventure. Nice to see that. That is what makes the Sabotage possible in the first place. And then it also pays homage to Spyro's Adventure with its story beats, referencing directly, mind you, the Core of Light itself as the darkness has become a personified force of pure evil. Let's watch out for that attack again as we defeat Captain Bristol Stash at long last, and High Vault manages to make it out by the skin of his teeth. That was a close one, but it is time, without further ado, the very thing I have been dreading. And I also guarantee that there would have been no Supercharger that would have got through this quicker than High Vault. He is absolutely really overpowered when it comes to speeding through this game quickly because his melee attacks are so incredibly strong. And I also love his animations too. Like, these attack animations look really cool, they're fun to watch because they're just so athletic despite this character being so robotic. Like, I could pick up a huge chunk of armor and bash around the shield and the spear with such speed and agility as that, so it's very impressive, those feats that High Volt is accomplishing right now. Plus there's such a fine attention to detail with this character. You can see like all of the battle damage this armor has faced from the years that High Volt's dealt with riots and things. Okay, here come our first two Spellpunks. We're going to defeat the undead one first, because then after he's dead, like right now, we switch out for Fiesta, and then we can defeat the air Spellpunk and switch out to Stormblade. And I'd rather be playing a Stormblade longer, because despite the awesome design you see on screen right now, yes, Fiesta looks awesome, but his gameplay does not live up to the precedents that the design sets out for him. The design is a massive letdown. Well, the gameplay is a massive letdown when compared to the design, because the design promises so much and then the gameplay lets you down. Purely because of how weak the attacks are. Like, Fiesta takes forever to defeat enemies because the attacks deal such little damage. But at least now we can do the opposite of that, where we can deal damage very, very quickly. It really stacks up with Stormblade, given how speedy of a character she is. She is renowned for how fast-paced she is, so we should be able to defeat enemies with her much more quickly than we could with Fiesta. But we've got to make sure we don't get hit along the way, however. The thing with superchargers is that most of these characters do not have very high hitboxes, and then when it does come to the enemy attacks, the enemy hitboxes are garbage, because as you saw from Spellslam's laser right there, it hit us well earlier than the animation had even begun. So yeah, that was a bit of a cheap blow, but luckily we can see when the animation is about to start, and we won't be taking it for granted any longer. We will play it safe, so to say, so that then Stormblade doesn't get hit so easily. Okay, here comes some of the Spellpunks. We have a water one, so let's take them out first. Ow, if I don't die along the way, that is. Die, water Spellpunk, die! Or not. Man, these guys are taking a while to die over here. Okay, there goes the water Spellpunk. Let's grab the food and then switch out. We're gonna do whatever was I just said, and we're gonna do it on behalf of Dive Pups over here, where now we're gonna take out the undead Spellpunk, because again, I want to play as undead for as least amount as possible, because then we won't have to deal with Fiesta for very long. We can have enemies who, we can have Skylanders who actually defeat enemies much more quickly, and in that case we can. Die! Thank you! That's undead gone, so now we've got to switch out for Fiesta himself. Then we got to defeat the Fire Spellpunk, so we can finally switch out at long last for Spitfire, but his Dark iteration instead over his original design, because the Dark colour palette works so well for Spitfire. It looks badass, and I'd rather use that version over the regular Spitfire. That's an also my Dark Spitfire is fully upgraded, whereas my regular Spitfire is not. This guy really has to die right now. I do not like how he's attacking me, but now bring out the fire! And that means Dark Spitfire specifically, where we have another Fire Spellpunk, and this is where strategy comes in. We want to defeat the Spellpunk with the same element of my Skylander, because that means that I can remain as the Skylander I'm currently playing as for a little bit longer than usual. Well, that would be the case if not for the live Spellpunk having shown up, so I need to actually defeat that one first, because it's just going to keep healing the others, rather annoying that. Okay, now that they're dead, we can grab the food and switch out for Philippine. Yeah, it's really annoying. I wanted to defeat that Fire Spellpunk first, and then we got one out of the way and could remain as Spitfire, because he would have been the same element as the Spellpunk we just defeated. But apparently the game doesn't care about what I want for sake of convenience and good strategy. I had to defeat the live Spellpunk first, there was no choice in the matter. We're going to try and defeat the air one first, and then we're going to use Stormblade to hopefully defeat the Fire Spellpunk. Let's place it onto the board without further ado and try not to get hit by the Spellpunk when we're summoning it in. But man, this timer just keeps going, doesn't it? And that's obviously part of the time. The timer has to keep going, so I switch out between my Skylanders, doesn't waste time during their different summoning in animations. But now we can finally go back and play as Dark Spitfire for a hot minute, because we're back to regularly scheduled spell slams rather than his separated Spellpunks, mind you. Yes, as you can see, I'm paying close attention to the video game right now, because if I wasn't, I would forget to switch out the Skylanders when a Spellpunk is defeated, which would be a failure of a challenge. I do not want to fail the challenge. This Sabotage has been very successful so far, very successful at getting me annoyed. I'm annoyed right now with all this switching out. It is very annoying. Ow! That is also too very annoying. How dare you? I kill you. I kill you more and more. Even more than that, which I was before. And that was a lot before, so that's really saying something. Yes, let's get him! It's very convenient to Spitfire Soul Gem right now for Flame Nado's exploding on him because that is a lot of damage. Okay, let's see. What do we have here? We have magic. Fire over there, so let's take out the fire one first, or at least attempt to. Easy said and done that. Okay, fire has been taken out. Let's take out magic next because I really want to play a Splat. Splat is awesome. Die, die, die. Okay, thank you. They've been taken out, so it's Splat's turn. Wherever she is on my desk beside me, mind you, I've got to do this quickly. The quicker I swap out, for the more time I save. So yes, let's take out the air one next, just because that's the one I saw first, and it looked to me funny, so it has this coming. You see what I mean though? Splat is awesome! This guy doesn't stand a chance already! They are dead, so it's Stormblood's time to shine. Who's Stormblood? Where does Stormblood come from? I don't know what a Stormblood is. Or should I say Breezewing? Because Stormblade is very much inspired by the Scrap Swap Force design, Breezewing. You can tell for similarities in the two's design. Anyway, we're going to defeat the air one first, so that then this is out of the way. Okay, sweet, it's dead, so I get to remain as Stormblade a little bit longer. Die, 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 die. Why aren't you dying? You're being very inconvenient right now. Okay, there we go, it's finally dead, so it's time for a little bit of dive clubs, yes! I don't know why that tune is so addictive to me, but I just love the sound of it, so we're going to bring it out again. And next up, we are definitely going to defeat the undead one first, because I'd rather Fiesta have to deal with a solo fire Spellpunk than have to deal with much more than that, because he, frankly, couldn't handle it most probably with the lack of damage output that his attacks possess. So yeah, so let's swap out for Fiesta now that the undead Spellpunk has been defeated, and we need to now defeat a fire Spellpunk, which is easier said than done when I have no health to my name whatsoever, but luckily, that's what we have the food for. Wow, he was defeated awfully quick, right? So let's swap back to Spitfire, take out the live Spellpunk first, and then we can swap back to Thrillipede. And then take out some more Spellpunks whilst we're at it, because that is the name of the challenge after all. Oh! The live Spellpunk was knocked off already.
Fook me, that was fast.
My apologies for that cut right there, but after the live Spellpunk just kind of got knocked off and committed Stoker right there, I was kind of thrown for a loop, but it has been defeated all the same. It doesn't matter if they are defeated by the hands of my Skylander or not. The stimulant of the challenge is that whenever a Spellpunk is defeated, I swap out for a Skylander whose element is the same as that of the Spellpunks. So naturally, the life Spellpunk was defeated, so we're going to swap out for the life Supercharger Thrillipede, regardless on how it was that life Spellpunk was defeated in the first place. So let's take out this fool right here. I don't like how he's looking at me funny. I don't like that at all. Boom! Take that to the face, sucker! This is a water one, so when they're dealt with, we've got to swap back to the might of dive pops like that right there. He's been defeated, so it's back to dive pops again. Man, this is very frequent right now, isn't it? I'm not getting a break from all the swapping out. Like, my left arm is starting to ache a bit from how much I'm having to do this motion with my Skylanders on and off the portal there. On and off, they're shaking it all about, doing the hokey pokey, they're turning it around, because that's what it's all about. Okay, that guy's got to go. Sweet, it's Splat's turn to shine. I'm noticing that there aren't actually any technical points that are popping up, or Earth ones, so unfortunately, Smash Hit is kind of being left in darkness right now. And High Volt, let's just say I'm glad I started the challenge off with him, because otherwise it looks like we won't be getting any screen time otherwise. So it's back to Dark Spitfire, because the last Spellpunk we defeated was a Fire Spellpunk. You can tell it's a Fire Spellpunk from because of its design and the attack patterns it was utilising. So here we go, looks like our boy Spitfire gets to take on the main boss Spell Slammer himself once again. Do we have more food? No, we don't, so I just need to not get hit. That's a good plan, I like that plan actually. Maybe I should come up with that plan more often. Maybe then I die less if I just don't get hit as much. I know, right? What a obscene sort of idea, you know, incredibly out of the box. I know nobody's ever thought of it before, but that's what makes my mind pattern so unique as it is. Die, 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 die. I mean, I'm asking you nicely at this point. Me saying die and die and die over and over again is me asking nicely, Lee. That is what me nicely, that is what me asking nicely looks like. Oh no! Not Dark Spitfire! Anything but Dark Spitfire. So much about this being a freebie. I was referring to this level earlier as it being a freebie in terms of never losing a Skylander in a lock. Obviously in a lock when Skylander is defeated it cannot be used again. So usually in this level, in a lock we're relatively safe because Skylanders aren't frequently defeated. But apparently Dark Spitfire's death had something else to say about that situation. But luckily that's what we have 2 Spitfires for, but as I said earlier, my regular Spitfire is downgraded compared to the Dark Spitfire, so it's going to be that much harder to deal with Spellpunk, but we're almost there. Come on, let's finish this time already. The timer ends for the moment Spellpunk was defeated. Right, yeah, let's go. The final timer is exactly that which you see on the screen, which, to be fair, everything considered, that is pretty impressive. We only had 1 Skylander defeat, which usually at 0 in this level. But say, Spellpunk had to take revenge on me for all of the times I've gone for this level and escaped in Nightmare mode now, didn't he? And losing Dark Spitfire added an awful lot to that timer because obviously we had to switch out for regular Spitfire, and we also had to deal with my rambling along the way, so that was a huge time waste. If I wasn't defeated there, and if the Sabotage wasn't so effective, then that timer would have been much less. But that being said, I hope you've enjoyed the creative implementations of this Sabotage. I felt like it was a fun one, personally. My arm is very sore. It had a bit of a workout, swapping out all of those Skylanders constantly. But that being said, I will see you next Tuesday for another episode of the 2nd season of Skylander Sabotage. And until that moment arises, we have an outro to see us through. Until then, I cannot, in good conscience, end off this video without first thanking all of my incredible channel members whose continued support help make these videos possible. Without them, these videos would be near impossible to make, so from the bottom of my heart, I truly appreciate every last one of them. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more, there are plenty of options on screen now to explore, and please consider subscribing to keep up to date with all my content. On that note, this video is coming to an end, so thank you so much as always for watching. Until the next video arises, peace!